there. And the fact is, Dak has not only been a nearly perfect leader for this team, he's been a nearly perfect soldier for the franchise, right? As controversy swirled, he towed the company line as closely as he hewed to it as closely as he could. I mean, Jerry Jones, how much more could you ask for from a guy, both as a soldier and as a leader, as a general on the field? So he has a tremendous value to this team, and obviously with Dak they would have won the division, right? He's worth at least a couple games over what the Cowboys got. So yeah, he's got a ton of leverage. But should he be worried or concerned about giving him a long-term deal? Guys, let's just think about this clearly. What draft class did he come out with? And now he wasn't the first and second picks like Goff and Wentz, but he's with those guys, fourth round. Let's look at those contracts. How about the Wentz contract? You see how hysterically laughable it is when it leaks, when Chris Mortensen reports, who does a great job, of course. But look what they're telling him. Oh, we expect a hefty return for Carson Wentz, as though he has a shred, an iota of value on the market given that contract. They are going to have to include draft capital just to get someone to take that stinking contract. Jared Goff. Even if he's healthy, Sean McVay 2 days ago would not answer who's going to start in the playoffs between him and Walford. Wouldn't answer the question. Jerry Jones offered Dak Prescott a deal in line with the Wentz and Goff deals, right? Dak's agent apparently turned it down. They wanted an earlier out to take advantage of what they will believe is a better CBA for Dak going forward. More money. So if he can opt out early, get a shorter deal, he'll make more money when he re-ups. Now, what wound up happening? Dak promptly missed the season, most of the season. So if you would have given him $35 million a year over the course of that deal, when you take a year out, you're giving him more like $50 million a year. Is he worth that? I mean, right as they tried to give him the deal, he turned it down and immediately had a catastrophic injury. Because of the injury risk in football, because of the lopsided kind of distribution of the salary cap toward quarterbacks, most of whom are not worth it. There's Patrick Mahomes, there's one or two guys, Aaron Rodgers, who are worth the kind of percentage of the cap they get. The rest of the guys aren't. Dak falls into the aren't category, in fact, if you're really trying to make the best team you can. So should he be concerned? He dodged a bullet this year.
No, listen, injuries are a part of the game, but the Dak injury isn't anything based on the way that he plays football. The Dak injury is based in the fact that he plays football. Those things are going to happen from time to time, and Dak is going to be healthy this year. Dak is going to be ready to roll, and you can't base Dak Prescott's contract off of what Carson Wentz became or what Jared Goff became. And listen, when in this league, sometimes your absence makes people understand how much you're worth. I remember the year I got sick, which was 2007, and you remember that's the guarantee year against Tom Brady, and the Pittsburgh Steelers weren't great on defense. When I was cleared, when I finally got out of the hospital, and they told me that I can work out, I walk into the room with the defensive back coach, who I was never his guy, right? Even when I won the job, he told me early in the season, we're still going to work somebody else and we're still going to give them series. And I was like, well, why would you do that when we were in the competition? I clearly beat them out. It's because they saw me as an undrafted free agent, kind of how Dallas sees Dak Prescott as a fourth-round draft pick. And he said, we know now how important you were to this team. If you're healthy, if you can play, you're the guy, no questions asked. Well, that's what Dak Prescott is now. If he's healthy, if he could play, he's the guy, no questions asked. His worth has been proven to this team. What they are offensively without Dak, as opposed to what they are with him, is such a large gap that now you have no leg to stand on, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is telling the truth. I wouldn't have offered him what I offered him in the first place if we didn't value. Now you value him. Now you have to value him higher. And so it's not about, oh, let's hedge our bets because maybe the ankle isn't right, or let's hedge our bet because Carson Wentz didn't play as well after his contract, or Jared Goff didn't play as well after his contract. That's not how it works. When a guy comes out and earns his money, you give him his money. And if you don't want to give Dak Prescott his money, you run the risk of not having him. What did it look like when you didn't have him this year? And Jerry Jones has to assess that. Jerry Jones has to understand
why
that.
he didn't have him
and
this year?
He also has to relate because he got injured. But you also have to look at that as it relates to Jerry Jones's GM and real life mortality. Do you want to start this thing all over again, Jerry? Or do you believe Dak Prescott is a good enough quarterback that if you surround him with the right pieces, you win the Super Bowl? And I think you feel that way about Dak Prescott. And so to me, this is a no-brainer. You get the deal done. Obviously, it's not Patrick Mahomes' money, but it's good money. He's one of the top-paid quarterbacks in this league, and you move on and try to win football games.
Ryan, know who didn't have a leg to stand on? Dak Prescott. That's why he didn't play this year. I mean, that's the reality.
So lame,
and
man.
in terms of like, well, you said it, not me. You said not a leg to stand on. That's low-hanging fruit. Look, the fact of the matter is, I would also give him the deal in line with what they offered him. They may have to sweeten it a little bit now. But the question is not, do you give him the deal or not? The question is, are you concerned? You have to be. Look, the fact of the matter is there's a hard cap in football, which means to pay Peter, you must rob Paul, right? Like, there's no way around it. Those are resources you cannot direct elsewhere. That is why the rookie deal window is so important in the NFL. And Dak is out of that now. They milked it for their real mistake was they milked that for everything it was worth, and they should have hedged a little bit by giving him a really nice deal like a year and a half ago. They didn't. That's not what happened. So now they're faced with the reality that they're going to have to overpay him. He is not Patrick Mahomes. He is not Aaron Rodgers. We hope he continues to develop into a truly great player. He is not that yet. He's a good player right now. He's a good player at a very important position who's about to be paid great money. How has that worked for most of the league? It hasn't.
Yeah. And I think the other piece of this is, too, is you got to look at him. Where do you see him, I guess?